In this video, we are going to go over how to multiply binomials by trinomials. It's essentially an extended foiling. You're using the distributive property and you should do it in an organized way. So there's different ways you can organize your distribution. The way that I do it is I distribute the first term to every term. So the first term in the binomial to each term in the trinomial, and then I reset and distribute the second term to each term, and then combine like terms. So you'll see how this is a lot like foiling. Let's jump right into distribution. So the instructions, multiply. Some people say simplify, but I think more directly, multiply. So I'm going to multiply this 2w times w squared. I'm going to multiply it by minus 3w, and then I'll eventually multiply it by 5. So let's do that. So 2w times w squared, 2 times the 1 that's out there is 2. W times w squared is w to the third power, right? That's w to the 1. And then w to the 2, add the exponents. 2w times minus 3w. 2 times minus 3 is negative 6. W times w, w squared. So we get w squared, not bad. And then 2w times plus 5. 5 times 2 is 10, and then we have the w. Okay, so we're not quite done. That was just doing the first term by each term in the trinomial. Now we'll do minus 5 times each term. So, like so. So, and it makes that sound if you listen carefully enough. Minus 5 times w squared is minus 5w squared. Minus 5 times minus 3w, negative times a negative, is a positive 15w. And then minus 5 times plus 5 is negative 25. That's a beautiful thing. So now what we do from here is we just combine the like terms. So there's no other w cubed terms. That's our highest power, so that'll go first. Remember, always wanting to put things in standard form. I like to do like a little dot or a check mark right above the numbers that I've accounted for so that I'm not double counting them or I don't forget about them. Minus 6w squared, minus 5w squared, those are the only w to the second power terms. It's negative 6 and negative 5 is negative 11w squared. And again, little check marks right above them. And then I go to the w terms, plus 10w plus 15w. That's a total of 25 w's, 10 plus 15. Just combining like terms. Again, all we're doing here is adding polynomials. And if you're having trouble with that, go back to a previous video in chapter 9, Algebra 1, where you can see why and how to add polynomials. All right, because that's all we're doing here, just combining like terms. And then all we have left is minus 25. The powers go highest to lowest. This is in standard form. That's our answer. Nice. I'm going to do a second example with you just in case you need it. I also kind of changed it up a little bit, where in this example we have slightly higher powers and the binomial comes second. It doesn't change how I'm going to multiply them. Let's rock it. So, like in the other problem, I'm going to take each term in here and distribute it to all three terms in the trinomial. So that would be 1, 2, 3. So x squared times 3x to the third, well that's 3 times 1 is just 3. X to the third times x to the second, adding the 3 in the exponent and the 2, because they're like bases, gives me x to the fifth. Then I do x squared times 9x, positive 9x, that'd be plus 9. X to the first times x squared, adding 1 and 2 gets you 3, so it's x to the third power. And then x squared times minus 7 is just minus 7x squared. So we're not done. We've completed half of the binomial, distributing it to all three pieces, or all three terms in the trinomial. Now we're going to multiply the 5 to 1, 2, 3 terms. Let's do it. So I've got 5 times each of those terms. So 5 times 3 is 15x cubed. A little voice crack there for you. Sweet. Plus 5 times plus 9 is 45x. Not bad. And then 5 times negative 7, careful your signs, is negative 35. So we go through it like we did in the previous problem, and we're now going to combine like terms, going highest power to lowest. 3x to the fifth, there are no other fifth degree terms, so I put a little check mark there. The next highest power is to the third, so you get 9x to the third, 15x to the third, they're going to both be positive and added. 9 plus 15 is 24x to the third. Nice and organized. We'll keep rolling. We go to the x squared term. It's the only x squared term, so that's minus 7x squared. Not many like terms left, if any. Plus 45x, no other x terms, so it's going to just be plus 45x. Sweet. Check. And then minus 35. Nice. And we donezo at that point. So highest power to lowest, it's in standard form. We didn't have many like terms, but that's because of the different powers we had there. Bottom line, if you're multiplying binomials by trinomials, it's really foiling, just we can't use the word FOIL because there's not 4 multiplications going on. In this case, there's 6. You got to make sure that every term gets multiplied by every other term in each binomial and trinomial, just like I showed. Now go rock some more in your class.